Casadei in the championship fight. He had a brilliant comeback ride the last time we went racing in Misano, 10th to 3rd on the grid and in the race. So can Casadei perform similar heroics here? It will be a big old afternoon for him as he guns to become a two-time champion.
Nicholas Spinelli was a winner here last year in Portimão. He is 6th in this championship fight, 26 points behind Alessandro Zacconi. He's the wrong side of that crucial 25-point margin. But if Spinelli does beat Zacconi and other results go his way, he can still be in it later on.
Yeah, he was obviously taken out by Andrea Mantovani in that last race we had at Misano, which brought his point scoring run, his run of top 10 finishes in every race this season to an end at such a costly time of the year as well. But Spinelli with a bit of an outside shot, 26 points in arrears in the championship fight.
We just saw a rider who may well be a little bit out of position, but no question about getting a job done yesterday, Neil. Raffaele Fusco, his best finish in a qualifying situation yesterday, completing that second row. So keep an eye on Raffaele Fusco. This is your number 19. He's going to go from the head of that third row. That is Luca Bernardi. Has previous experience at this track and another one who mastered the conditions yesterday to give himself a shot in Q2.
Yeah, best qualifying performance of the year and of his MotoE career as a result. Bernardi looking to perhaps get his best performance of the season into this race one. 9th position last time out was his best result, his joint best result in the class so far.
It's been a remarkable season indeed, right the way through, but Luca Bernardi perhaps not living up to what we expected of him earlier on in the season. Matteo Ferrari, well, if someone is in the zone, the number 11 is certainly that rider. Just 12 points, Neil, behind Alessandro Zacconi. It is so close at the top of the standings. Matteo Ferrari, our most recent race winner, race 2 victorious at Misano.
Yeah, that was a brilliant timely victory as well. Give himself just enough of leeway to operate today. If he wins both races, Zacconi will have to be nearly perfect in second both times to clinch the title. Ferrari 12 points back in third overall, but still, like Casadei, going for his second title in this category.
Alessio Finello completing that third row. He's never had back-to-back top 10s. He was in the top 10 last time out. If he can, he will try his best to help out his teammate in today's races.
Yeah. Finello, you have to imagine, will be giving his teammate a little bit of leeway on the run down into turn one as they set off together. 8th and 9th on the grid for the two fellow Gresini riders. We'll have to keep our eyes peeled on all aspects of the grid with some of our big challengers coming from a bit further back. Mantovani and Baldassarri, as we said, 5th row of the grid for them.
Yeah, we'll come to them in just a moment, but look at the pressure for Alessandro Zacconi. Can he get it over the line in race one? We're about to find out. Hello and welcome to MotoE Race 1. Will it be a title deciding Race 1? Alessandro Zacconi, Oscar Gutierrez and Eric Granado, they are your front row riders. Gutierrez, as we've already said, not in the title fight. Granado, Zacconi, very much so. Casadei, likewise. Spinelli still in with a shout. Matteo Ferrari's in form, but look at that heavyweight 5th row. Andrea Mantovani and Lorenzo Baldassarri still in title contention, but they have got a mountain to climb from that 13th and 14th place on the grid. We go all the way back to Herrera Zanoni and Tommaso Occhi, completing the 6th row of the grid. Just before we get underway with the rest of this warm-up lap, Neil, I know Elliot is keen and ready and waiting. El, what have you got?
Yeah, I'm Dominic Lucio checking out. Lucio, both your riders in this championship frame, how are they both feeling? Matteo on the second row, Eric on the front row.
Yeah, as you know, yesterday it was a tricky qualifying because of the rain. But yesterday morning, Mattia on the dry was really performing really fast. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting race, and keep my finger crossed because as you know, yeah, can be a very important race for us.
Good luck.
Thank you so much.
And El, don't go anywhere. You don't get in away lightly. Predictions for this one. I want your race winner, and I want to know if this title race goes to race 2.
Oh, race winner. I'm going to go for Eric Granado as the race winner. I think we're going to go down to the final race of the season. As a neutral, let's hope it goes that way. What about you, boys?
Neil, over to you.
Casadei was looking very strong in the only fully dry session that we've had, which was yesterday morning. He was head and shoulders above the rest there. Coming from the second row, I think Casadei will get the job done in this one and take the race for the title all the way into race 2.
I am going to go for Matteo Ferrari, and thus the title race rocks on to race 2. What a season it's been, Neil. We're going to go through some of our highlights, not just of this year, but of MotoE in general a bit later on. But if you're Alessandro Zacconi now, you've got the weight of pole position on your shoulders. How do you manage this in this situation?
I think you just have to know that the advantage in the championship isn't so big that you have to be in the offensive. You have to go out there and attack this race as if you're still chasing and try and not let that come into your thinking too much. So it will be so interesting to see how Zacconi, the number 61, handles the pressure. First pole position for him since the first round of the season. See what he can do.
And what about if you're everyone else, Neil? Maybe not so much your Granada, your Casadei, but thinking back to Mantovani and Baldassarri, what's their plan of attack?
I mean, it just has to be go for it. There's no real other option if you want to end up as the champion at the end of this one.
Well, we are assembling the grid here in MotoE for race 1 at Portimão, the Qatar Airways Grand Prix of Portugal. It's going to be a fantastic penultimate round for the other classes this season, but this is it, the penultimate race in MotoE. 2025 has seen it all, or has it? We are at green already, and it is not the best of starts.
Mantovani's jumped the shark.
Mantovani's blown it already. Andrea Mantovani was moving, I think, before the lights even went red. But, well, Mantovani's out of this title race, surely. That's a massive jump start by the Italian. Comes through to take the whole shot. Zacconi's trying to deal with Gutierrez. That's down at turn 3. Let's hope they all get through, because it's a pinch point on this Portimão circuit. I think they have all got through. Keep your held through turn 4, because it's the first time they go on the left-hand side of the tyre. Now down towards this heavy braking zone at turn 5. Gutierrez, well, he's not following the script of not getting involved in the title fight, is he? Straight up into P2, ahead of Zacconi. Granado is still ahead of Casadei, who is down to 5th place. Then it is Ferrari, who's come up to the top 6. But what a disaster. Andrea Mantovani, what was he doing?
Yeah, he was shaking his head coming off the line. He knew he had jumped the start, and he's going to be getting a double long lap penalty advice soon enough. But brilliant stuff from Ferrari, who's jumped up 2 positions from 8th on the grid into 6th. Baldassarri's also made decent progress to get into 10th. Casadei will be a little concerned to be back there in 5th.
A few moments on the front end down in towards turn 11, and Mantovani's riding it like he stole it. The reason I was hesitant down towards turn 1 is because I couldn't work out how on earth one of the Clint forward machines had got that far forward. I thought it was a dodgy start by Zacconi. It wasn't that bad at all. It was just Mantovani kind of skewing the picture, and he's skewing our picture again here. That's turn 13. He's getting tight with Gutierrez at 14. They are neck and shoulder to shoulder, and handlebar to handlebar. Zacconi wants to win the title, and he's going to do it by any means possible. So we've had no confirmation of anything with Andrea Mantovani, so we're going to take it as it is. Andrea Mantovani, just as I say, that gets a double long lap penalty for jumping the starts. He leads across the line. Zacconi, though, is taking him down the front straight with Gutierrez following suit. And keep an eye on Eric Granado. They'll all want to clear Mantovani at the same time, and they do so cleanly.
Yeah, Mantovani hasn't had any pace at any point this weekend, so he's been a bit of a roadblock in this first lap, which is why everything is so tight up at the front. And Casadei now.
Gutierrez! Gutierrez is gone, so that's one rider who's not in the title fight. Check it out at turn 3. Oscar Gutierrez, he was emotional in Parc Ferme after the injuries he sustained right at the start of this season. That crash slightly less dramatic, but nonetheless important. Gutierrez would have wanted to finish this season on a high, and unfortunately for him, it's finished at turn 3 in race 1. Talk us through it, Neil.
Yeah, that's a shame for Oscar Gutierrez. He was so aggressive on that first lap. You could see just a little bit on the inside as he brakes on the apex into turn number 3, but the front wise enough. And Gutierrez, well, his best ride since the first race of the season has come to an unfortunate end, but that has played into Alessandro Zacconi's hands. He has now got half a second of an advantage up at the front ahead of Granado.
Over Eric Granado, who really needs to be up in the podium places, and is so, but at the moment it is all going Alessandro Zacconi's way. That's getting tight. That's Hosjuk coming through. Oh, Andrea Mantovani, great start from Jacopo Hosjuk from 10th on the grid up to 5th. This is a jump start, keeping on the right hand side, and you will see, oh dearie me, Andrea Mantovani, well,
he was keen.
Yeah, he was very keen, moto keen, I think. Oh, look at that, absolutely, got a brilliant start. He absolutely got it, hook, line and sinker, just a bit early.
Just a bit, yeah, exactly. I don't think that took too much of deliberation up in race control to decide on that. But look at this from Zacconi. He is absolutely riding away at the front. It looks as though at this point only Granado and Casadei can go with him. It's the fastest lap of the race so far for Zacconi. It's 47.192. No other rider was able to be within a tenth and a half of that lap time last time round.
Got to say, great start from Lorenzo Baldassarri as well. He's trying to keep his title hopes alive, and he's come through up into 6th place at the moment. As it stands, the title would not be decided, but we do have 4 of your big heavyweights right at the front. Zacconi, Granado, Casadei. Oh, that's Tibor Eric Varga, I think, who's gone down. Tibor Eric Varga, this is at turn 13, and yeah, lost that very early, and that bike is carrying some energy. Tibor Eric Varga is out of race 1.
A real shame for the Hungarian rider, who has shown some great speed at certain points this year. Not so much this weekend. Granado really is on the limit there, isn't he, as he's coming down through turn number 6 and 7, breaking in towards turn 8. But the Brazilian has got his hooks in here. See that Matthew stabilised up front, and in fact he is actually closing in on Zacconi up ahead. We said Granado needs to have a double victory here to have any shot of winning the championship. He looks as though he is doing it, although he's very, very hard on that front end.
Yeah, that. Oh, Alessandro Zacconi. Well, that was spectacular. Coming down the hill from turn 11 into turn 12. We got it all crossed up at the front end, but somehow managed to land it pretty perfectly. Alessandro is right there, and you can see your live championship standings as where Matteo Ferrari is at the moment, down in 5th behind Hosiuk. Would be out of title contention.
Yeah, I was just going to point out the fact that Hosiuk has got past Ferrari to 4th position and is actually closing in on this lead trio. So maybe we're going to have a front fight of 4 riders in 1 or 2 laps time. You can see there the number 12 and a side bike just behind this leading trio coming across the line. And Hosiuk has just set the fastest lap of the race. He was actually 4/10 of a second faster than Zacconi, the leader.
Worth noting, Hosiuk does have previous experience here from the Moto2 European Championship. He knows which way this track goes round, and he's right there. This is a fantastic ride. The best rider here from Jacopo Hosiuk. He's saving his best till last, and he's right there in 4th place. He's challenging the front 3 of Casadei, Granado and Zacconi, who leads this. Ferrari will not believe what he's seeing, actually. I don't think the number 11 looking at the rear end of the number 12, and then Lorenzo Baldassarri back in 6th. Tell you what, Casadei was getting very close to the rear end there of Eric Granado. Zacconi coming up through the left-hander now, still leading the way, but you get a feeling it's a matter of when and not if. Granado's been strong coming through turn 8. Let's see if he's able to line something up. Maybe not so much for turn 9, but once they through that big sweep, what a shot as they come over the top of the hill and drop down the other side through the Craig Jones corner. This is where Granado's been good on the brakes, and with Zacconi going wide like he has, that has left the door open, and that has allowed Eric Granado to at least have a think about it and gets the job done. Eric Granado has arrived back to the front of the MotoE field, at least for the moment. Zacconi thinks about striking back, but knows he's got to keep his powder dry with 3 to go.
You could do Zacconi right now. You let Granado go. You have to be on the defensive and make sure that Matteo Casadei does not get by, because he is the chief protagonist in this title fight. But look at Hosiuk. He is all over at Matteo Casadei in 3rd position now. This is comfortably the best performance we've seen from the Romanians so far this season. And Granado maybe just has the pace to break away from these 3 riders behind.
And I've got to say, Hosiuk is going to throw caution to the wind, and that is not what the riders in front of him want to be seeing or experiencing at all, because Jacopo Hosiuk has not been in this position all season. It's easy to make a mistake. Look at Zacconi, he's coming back through, down in the dip at turn 1, and he gets it done. Casadei just about threads the eye of the needle. Granado finds himself staring at the back of the Aruba Cloud MotoE machine. What a race, what a penultimate race, not just of this season, but in MotoE. Zacconi your pole sitter, Granado from the front row, Casadei's come from 4th, and Hosiuk's come from the 4th row. It's any one of these 4, and that is with a lap and a half to go. We can see a lot of changes just yet. Oh, because it was Casadei up the inside of Granado, not quite.
That was scary stuff. I thought Casadei was maybe going to take his teammate out coming down into turn 5. Thankfully, he didn't. Hosiuk was supposed to have a second faster than the leader again last time around, but you do wonder whether he's going to be super enthusiastic to get in the middle of this title fight. I mean, it's not really his place to get involved. but obviously he wants to get a first podium in MotoE.
He's got to do it, Neil. He's got to try and challenge. Of course, MotoE finishes this year. They've all got to sort rides out for next year. The one thing that we've spoken about is that Zacconi is kind of on his own. He's got no teammates to help him out. But the thing is, the glorious thing of Zacconi is both the LCR machines are fighting each other because they both can be champions. So actually, those two being right there is helping him out a little bit here.
Yeah, absolutely. And Zacconi is just over one lap away from putting one hand on this year's MotoE World Championship, because as you can see, this would be very, very positive for his championship chance. He would go into race 2 with a 14-point advantage over Casadei. Casadei simply has to get really aggressive on Eric Granado at the start of the final lap and then try and make a move up front.
It's got to be this final lap then, last lap time in MotoE Race 1 at Portimão. We track them all the way down the straight. Keep an eye on Jacopo Hoscher, keep an eye on Eric Granado, who's let in the brakes off and moving through into P1. Does he put it down? Not quite. Zacconi is punching him straight back. That's at turn 2. Now turn 3. Casadei has found himself behind Hoscher. He's looking at the inside of Granado in turn. Hoscher's up in the top 3. Granado is sandwiched right between the two blue bikes on your screen. Zacconi holds the advantage down towards turn 5. Jacopo Hoscher, what have you had for breakfast? He's trying to come through inside, outside, all through. Casadei, it's going to end in tears. Casadei has a moment. This is not good news for Casadei. It's brilliant news for Zacconi.
It really is. Casadei is getting really held up behind the number 12, who's getting involved. Fair play to him. He obviously wants to get a result on the podium of his own, but Casadei, I do not think will have a positive outlook on that. What about Eric Granado? It looks as though Zacconi has been pretty good in this part of the track the last couple of lap times around.
This is where Granado is stronger, and you get the feeling that it's building all the way to turn 13. If it's not 13, he'll maybe run to the line, perhaps.
Yeah, exactly, or into 14, but Granado has to get it absolutely right. Going through this downhill turn 12 and then on the run up to 13. I don't think he's close enough just now.
Oh, dearie me, it's all going to come down to a massive lunge. It could still be the final corner. So, ladies and gentlemen and folks at home, please strap yourselves in, hold your breath, because we can't do that up here in commentary. Turn 14, the penultimate corner is history. Now it's down to the last corner. Zacconi holds all the cards. Granado is going to try and get the magnets on. He's looking for a run. Coming out of turn 15. Is it clean enough? I'm not sure. Granado is charging. He's charging. He's trying to get the slipstream, but it's not enough. Zacconi takes the victory, but the title race does go to the final race of this season. Granado second, and a career first, a country first podium for Jacopo Hoscher of Romania in third. Casadei, not what he needed, qualified for, stays fourth, and mounted to climb later. 17 points, the new deficit in the title race. Baldassarri, magnificent from the 5th row of the grid up to the top 5, gets ahead of Ferrari. Spinelli 7th, Zanoni, Torres and San Marino's Luca Bernardi completing the top 10. Neil, Alessandro Zacconi, it's a third win of the season, and it's one hand on the title trophy.
Yeah, it most certainly is. Third win of the season, and easily the most important win of the season and of Zacconi's career, because as you said, Kiko, he has taken such a significant step toward winning this year's World Championship. That was an outstanding performance in the final couple of laps, considering this time much pressure that was on from behind, on the likes of Granado and from Hoscher. And with Hoscher getting ahead of Mattia Casadei, that is absolutely perfect for Zacconi, who now carries, what, a 16-point advantage going into race 2. He will just have to ride around and finish, what, inside the top 8 positions, and I think that'll be enough to be champion.
Not sure if it's 16 or 17. It's one of them, I think, and we're not sure. Either way, it is much of a muchness. If you're Mattia Casadei, you're going to have to come through and hope that Alessandro Zacconi drops the ball. That doesn't look like happening this weekend at Portimão. He's been flawless right the way through. Casadei, who had great pace, it's got to be said, right the way through Friday. Don't know what's gone on there in the dry of Saturday's race 1. More on that in a moment. Let's celebrate Jacopo Hoscher. He has arrived. What about that? An absolutely belting ride. And I tell you what, he'll be looking at the victory later on. Fantastic stuff. 10th on the grid for his first podium.
Yeah, absolutely incredible stuff from him. 10th on the grid, as you said, gaining 7 positions, and maybe there was an indicator yesterday morning that he was on for a good result. Hoscher was 3rd fastest in free practice, the only fully dry section that we had before today in MotoE. I certainly did not expect that, and you wonder if yeah, there wasn't a championship fight going on up ahead. Would he have maybe tried to get a little bit more stuck into the likes of Granado and Zacconi? But Casadei, well, really tough day at the office for him. He would have found a miracle now to come back and win the championship from there.
Judging by Hosiuk's attempted pass at turn 5, I don't think he was thinking about the championship. El, you've got some instant reaction. Down to you.
Yeah, with Jordi Gattel from the MSI team. Jordi, what a race from Jacopo, 10th on the grid to his first podium. What's been the click this weekend?
Yes, they surprised us a lot, but just to the beginning of the weekend, they show us that he's very strong and he's very clever also on the race, and we are really happy because they deserve it, for sure.
Enjoy the podium.
Thank you.
Very well deserved indeed from Jacopo Hosiuk, and it's a shame that MotoE ends, because I'd quite like to see what Hosiuk could do next year if we were coming back. But that's another scenario, another story. He's on the podium for the first time. Granado hasn't quite reached the Parc Ferme just yet. But what about this side? Alessandro Zacconi, that was very much one hand on the title, and I think he almost gave up the whole thing a few years ago due to the injury he suffered. What a comeback it has been from the number 61.
Yeah, amazing performance there. When the heat was on, he managed to keep his head. And as you can see, what was it? A 7-rider championship fight has now been reduced to a 3-rider fight. Casadei and Granado, the only riders that can topple Zacconi. Championship fight in race 2. Lorenzo Baldassarri just not close enough. Him and Ferrari falling out of the fight in that race 1. Baldassarri in 5th, Ferrari in 6th. Granado pretty happy, but I think we'll probably be looking now at securing 2nd in the championship, because that will be a big old ask coming from 23 points back with just one race.
Which is a problem if you're Mattia Casadei, who now needs to he needs to be top 2 in the race and hope that some kind of disaster or problem up ahead for Alessandro Zacconi. Having said that, of course, we have seen a lot of twists from race 1 down to race 2, and Granado, he needs to win in order to take the title later on today, but maybe he can do his bit, and then if Zacconi and Casadei are too focused on each other, who knows what we could end up with at the end of today.
This is MotoE, after all, one of the more unpredictable classes of racing. We've had 6 different winners so far this year, and also did just there. Maybe we could have a 7th in race 2. It's a difficult weekend to judge, isn't it, Kiko? With the weather playing havoc yesterday, a wet qualifying, a rain-interrupted practice session as well. And, well, it played into the hands today when it was dry. The rider who's taken his first MotoE podium, he is with Elliot York in Parc Ferme. Jacopo Hosiuk, ladies and gentlemen.
Jacopo, what a ride from 10th on the grid to your debut podium in MotoE. I bet that feels amazing. Talk us through that performance.
Well, it was an amazing season, of course, and an amazing day yesterday. We did an amazing work. We were really fast yesterday. Unfortunately, in the qualification rain, and I know I was able to make a good pace in the races. So today, race 1 was amazing. I did some overtakes. I was going a bit faster than the first, so it was easy to keep them really fast in the last 2 laps. And then the last lap I was able to pass Mattia and stay with the front group. It was an amazing race. I want to thank all the people who support me this season. Unfortunately, this will be the last season of MotoE, and I want to thank you everybody. Mulțumesc tuturor!
Great job, enjoy the podium.
First podium for Jacopo Hosiuk, and a first for Romania. What a way to do it. Fantastic from the number 12 Neil.
Yeah, absolutely. First Romanian podium in MotoE category. Only Romanian riders that have stood on the Grand Prix podium, if I'm being honest, Kiko.
I don't think so. I remember back in the 125 we had Robert Murisan, but I don't think he ever got a podium. So a nice little boost for Romania in the world of motorcycle racing. He does come from Rome, but he takes Romanian nationality. I can see down there in Parc Ferme, Eric Granado, second, looks a little bit dejected behind those sunglasses. El, tell us what's the latest.
Eric P2 here in race 1. I mean, you couldn't have tried much harder to win that. A great battle with Alessandro and the others as well. What are the emotions right now?
Yes, I'm so happy. I really wanted this win. I was fighting until the last corner. Zacconi was very fast. He deserved the win today. I tried the maximum. The bike was perfect. I want to say thank you so much for my team. I had a big crash yesterday on qualifying. They reviewed another bike for me. and I was competitive, so I'm so happy. It's great to be on the podium again. Thanks for all the Brazilians here in Portugal. It's amazing. I just want to enjoy the moment for the last race of the season, the last one of MotoE, and try my best in the second race. And as always, I need to say em português, estou muito feliz. Depois da queda ontem, minha moto foi completamente destruída, a equipe reconstruiu outra moto para mim e hoje eu pude ser competitivo, então estou muito feliz. Tentei ao máximo até o final, o Zaccone estava muito rápido, mas estou feliz. P2 é sempre especial estar no pódio. Bora finalizar a temporada da melhor forma na segunda prova. Isso aí.
Great job, well done.
Valeu, valeu.
It's hard to forget just how big that crash was yesterday for Eric Granado, but judging by his performance, it is actually easily forgettable. Good job from 51.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. In many ways, he is the form rider in this MotoGP category. That's his 6th podium in the last 9 outings. Could not bet against him. Signing off from his MotoE career. He's been here from the very start, 2019. Would not be surprised to see him signing off with the victory in race 2.
And I think that would be pretty justified and quite a fair way to see MotoE bow out, at least for the moment, at the end of 2025. And you do have to think, what would it have been like if Eric Granado hadn't have been collected by the bike over at Le Mans when he did crash out. But I can see that our championship leader, our champion-elect, is down there with our very own Elliott York, Alessandro Zaccone. One hand on the MotoE title in 2025.
Alessandro, you've won a few races this year, but that feels the biggest one, not only of this year, but of your career as well. One hand on the trophy now. Talk us through that battle and how your thoughts now head to race 2.
Well, unbelievable win. Yeah, obviously maybe the most important of my career. I won this win with all myself. Well, we did it. Now we have another race. We have to be focused, but we have to enjoy the moment. We did an incredible job yesterday after a difficult start. Now we have race 2, and we will see. But anyway, we already did a crazy job, and to say thanks to all my crew and see you in race 2. See you later. Thank you.
Alessandro Zaccone has done it again, a 3rd win of the year. He hasn't had a DNF since Le Mans. It's gonna take something like that to give the opposition a chance. Zaccone is in the driving seat going to race 2, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's on an 11-race run in which he's finished in the top 8 positions every single time. So he's been Mr. Consistent as well in 2025. Now this is probably the most agonising 4-hour wait of his life to go ahead of race 2 later this afternoon. That is going to seem like an eternity, a lifetime, as he tries to count down the time before what will be such a crucial bout later today. And well, can he hold his nerve with such a healthy lead? As you said, 17 points now ahead of the rest.
The one dynamic that we don't have at any other round, and generally any other final round, is that it is the last race coming up later. The likes of Oscar Gutierrez, the likes of Matteo Ferrari, Baldassari if he can come through, Posture, who's just had his first podium, Granado, as we've spoken about, Casadei does he needs to, the amount of riders that are going to want to win and sign off and perhaps do anything it takes, Neil. Perhaps maybe just go over the line because they want to win. The star higher than normal for Alessandro Zaccone, even with that commanding lead. Anything can still happen.
Yeah, I agree with that because his task was pretty clear there. It was go out and win the race. But in race 2, it's obviously going to be manage the gap and bring home the championship. And sometimes that can be slightly precarious.
It can be indeed, but we are going to have a very new flavour to the podium. Romania's Jacopo Hoscher, grand job, 10th to 3rd for his first and his country's first rostrum in MotoE. It's 2nd for Eric Granado, and the biggest celebration, of course, goes to our race 1 winner and champion-elect, championship leader Alessandro Zaccone. It was team owner Stefano Zaccone's birthday yesterday, so keep an eye on the celebrations down there in the Aruba Cloud MotoE team. Posture gets his first trophy. Granado is going to get the 2nd place one, handed out by Giovanni Tialdi, the Ducati MotoE project responsible. 2nd place trophy there to Granado, and it looks like it's going to be George Vegas from the FIM, the president of the FIM, who's going to hand out the winner's trophy. Will that be the only trophy that Alessandro Zacconi lifts this weekend? I don't think so. Here's the national anthem of Italy. What a way to start your sprint Saturday here at Portimão. We have got Moto3 qualifying coming up, Moto2 not long after that, and of course the MotoGP sprint. But don't go anywhere after that Tissot sprint. MotoE's final ever race. It's an important one. This rider on your screen in the middle of shot, Alessandro Zacconi, is looking at being world champion for the first time. Neil, will he do it?
Be Taiwan, but 7th place I think would be enough for him to seal the deal in race 2, and after what we saw there in that performance, it would be a crazy person that would bet against him from here, Pico.
Fantastic stuff indeed for Alessandro Zacconi, who extends his championship lead at the front. Eric Bernardo second in that one ahead of Hoshik, as we say. Casadei will be disappointed with that 4th place. Balda will be happy with that 5th, coming from the 5th row of the grid. Ferrari, Spinelli, Zanoni, and then it is Torres and Bernardi who complete your top 10. Briscoe, Garzo, Finello, Mantovani and Maria Herrera collecting points. Oki, not so, Gutierrez and Tibor Ekvarga, your crashers. Standing after the penultimate race of the day, Zacconi's lead is now 17 over Casadei. That means that Casadei needs a minor miracle to overcome the 6-1. Granado, a distant but still possible 4th place for Lorenzo Baldassari. Ferrari, Spinelli and Mantovani. 7 have become 3. Those 4 riders are now all out of contention. Down towards Zanoni, Garzo and Torres who complete your top 10. That was the penultimate MotoE race ever, but we still have one of the most important still to come later on today. You'll be